How are you this evening? Thanks for joining a little solo broadcast in a while. Been a little backing off of it. You know, the group things have been going really well. So the solo stuff, I just haven't been diving in head first. But I'm here to tell you that here I am, and I'm going to broadcast for you. That's what I'm going to do. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty good. I picked back up with Raised by Wolves. I watched episode 3 last night. I still don't know how I feel about this show, like overall. Like, there's things that I definitely like about it, right? Like, I like a lot of the visuals a lot. And I really respect the ambitious world building. That I find to be fun. I like that there's like these, this future, and there's these arcs, and there's these kind of science fiction-y divisions. Ooh, sorry. Grab my water. I find that all to be really cool. I'm just not sure, like, about the whole, like, I don't know where to land on the show. There's things that I find interesting, and there's things that I'm just kind of like unsure about. And I don't know, I'm also suspicious of the show's like intention, It's like you have these zealots, these like Christian zealots, and then you have these atheists who are like the two powers that were on Earth that I guess created like a global war that, ended humanity. It's interesting that like the two powers that ended humanity on Earth are both white. Seem like all the atheists and all the Christians are both white. Like, I guess the Middle East had no play in this end of the world, or the Chinese, or any other superpowers that happen to have power now. I don't know. I guess they didn't. A few hundred years, they don't impact world politics. I don't know. I find that to be odd. And not racist or anything, just sort of like, what's with that? I don't know. But it's an English show, right? It's Ridley Scott. So maybe he's just seeing it in that kind of binary look of like there's atheists and there's religious people, and that's it. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't quite know where the show comes down. This episode revealed something that the atheists, excuse me, pardon me for coughing into the mic there, were kind of brutal in that they would recruit children for their war, which the Christians didn't do. So it was like this dichotomy of humanity. But then also, like, it was revealed that the kid that these two people, there are two kind of Christian protagonists or whatever, like the people that they adopted their personas of were very cold to their child. Like, I guess they're not warm to the children that they raise. So it is kind of saying both sides are not great. I just don't understand the heart of the show yet. Anyway, gonna get into it. If you would be so kind as to like the video, press that like button. It is huge. It makes a huge difference on how many people see this video, where it goes, the prominence of the channel, the growth, and this future of this enterprise that is Foulball Productions. And you can partake in the growth. So please like and subscribe, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Of the 24 subscribers, and I take none of those lightly. Thank you very much for everyone who is following every single thing that I do, likes the videos, watches them. It means a lot. It's very fun to feel like there's someone out there listening to my ramblings about science fiction films. So I suppose we should get into it. What do you think, Alan? I think so. I think we can get right into it. Let's get started. All right, sounds good to me. Sounds right good. Right good. Real quick, I do want to bitch about HBO Max. So me and Lindsay are doing our show tomorrow night, which you can catch at 7 p.m. Pacific time right here on this channel. But seriously, check it out. It's going to be fun. We're doing our next episode. We're going to do 12 Monkeys, the Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt version. And then she's recommending a movie with Jake Gyllenhaal called Life, which I've never heard of. I guess it's like a horror science fiction film. I don't know anything about it. I'm excited to find out. But we're going to do those tomorrow and talk about them tomorrow. I'll probably watch Life as soon as I'm done here. But I was trying to find 12 Monkeys, and apparently if you have an HBO subscription on Amazon, you can watch it just fine. But if you have an HBO Max subscription, you can't. What the fuck, HBO? Like, why is this? I can't imagine that this is really that complicated that you'd be like, well, let's create all multiple tiers like octopus tentacles, and you can get this product over here and this product over here, but not over here, but over here, but not. Like, what the hell are you doing? If I have HBO Max, I should get the maximum of HBO content. So if any extension of HBO exists, I should be able to get whatever that is, because I'm getting the maximum, right? Well, it doesn't sound like it. If I can get 12 Monkeys on Amazon Prime HBO, but I can't get it on HBO Max HBO, then I'm missing out. What are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway, that bothered me.
So let's watch the show. Let's get into this program, which is fascinating.
Interesting stuff in this episode, relatively. Certain leaps in logic from the character point of views, though, that I was not really like crazy about. Or I was like, why are you making people stupid? Oh, I just caught that fruit fly in between my two fingers like Daniel-san. That's right. I know Kung Fu. Karate, Jerry. I don't know Kung Fu or Karate. So the pregnant girl, who I guess got who had sex against her will, raped, if you will, in her pod while she slept, was hibernating across the stars, is pregnant now, and the mother character is obsessed with that. I guess wants her to have natural birth. I mean, I guess that's in line with her character, right? If she's, I don't know, whatever atheist person reprogrammed her to not murder every single human life and to raise humans, it would make sense that she'd be obsessed with like a human being who has got like a mammalian reproductive system. I guess it's a little weird. It's a weird storyline. I mean, the girl appears to be about 12 or 13 years old, and she was raped in her sleep, and now we're going to root on her pregnancy. Okay. It's just a bizarre choice that I'm not necessarily sure I see was necessary for the show to exist, but okay, whatever. So mother has all the kids, all like the captive kids, and Campion, which is a weird name. I'm not familiar with the name Campion. I wonder if it's in the Bible or something, or if it's like specifically not in the Bible. I don't know. Not that I care. I'm just curious. God, I got something in my throat. trying to clear my throat for you guys. I want to be a professional. Anyway, so she's trying to tell the story of the Three Little Pigs, which is I don't know, it's weird. It's a little bizarre. I mean, she's sort of creepy. She doesn't understand humanity because she's not a human. She's a robot, right? I mean, that makes sense. And she tells a story, and then like the punchline of, like the don't do that. Sorry. The delivery of the story with and I'll blow your house in was kind of a weird choice because this android kills people by going, "Mah, mah, mah." This like sonic blast comes out of her head and blows your head up. So it's an odd choice for her to be like, a comforting way to make these kids like me is to blow at them, just like I kill people. Thought that was a little, like just a little peculiar, a little strange, but hey. I really do like the opening credits of this show. I like the animated version. It's something about it that really, I think, kind of frames the storytelling. It's not just, like take this super seriously. It's about everything. It's about life. It's about you and me, your mom, your dad, everything there's ever been. It's just like this is a science fiction story. We're telling a story. It's like novel art, It's like it's fun. You're supposed to have fun, explore a new world, talk about things, but it doesn't have to be so serious that it ruins your day. Sorry. I like that. I think it's a nice choice. It's a smart way to frame it, I feel. I think it kind of like it's a sort of like a pressure valve. So you can just like relax a little bit and just enjoy it instead of just feeling like, oh God, is this real life? Do I have to like that pressure of, I think that's a mistake so much modern entertainment makes, is like they try to, it has to be about real life. And this is a one-for-one representation of some politician or whatever. And that just stresses your audience out. Even the people who agree with you are going to be anxious. Most people, they really do want to feel happy. They want to feel an escape when they turn on their TV or their movie. They don't want to feel stressed. And I think if you make it too close to real life, that's all you're going to get is just stress. Whether you agree with the supposition of the show or not, I think that's a reaction you're going to get more than not. So I don't know. Whenever I feel like a show is going out of its way to not take itself seriously, and like this show kind of feels like it's doing a little bit of that, just a little bit, with the opening credits being animated. I think it's giving you what's the word? Permission to just have fun, to just relax, enjoy this world, enjoy this story. It doesn't have to be about you. It's not about your religion. It's not about your politics. It's just a story. And we need more of that. I don't even want to say in my opinion. We need more of that. We need to enjoy things again. We're too divided. We need to go back to having fun. I don't want to get too political. It's impossible now. It's impossible to not get political now. Everything's political. Everything. Oh my God. So this was an interesting development with, what is his name? I got to figure out this character's name, because I keep calling him by the actor's name, and that's sort of silly. That's silly. I shan't do that. I should use his character's name. Wow, he is billed really low. He's like the biggest name actor. There we go. Marcus. Okay, so Marcus's character, and is that her? Sue? Marcus and Sue? No, Sue is mother. Oh, I'm confused. Sorry, guys. This is convenient as a Amazon Prime, where you move your mouse and it gives you like the rundown of who's in the show. HBO Max doesn't do that. Anyway. Travis Amell, Marcus, and his I guess it's his girlfriend, wife, bride, I don't know. They had a very fortunate windfall, and that it turns out that the kid that they're impersonating the parents of, his real parents never talked to him. So they were lucky in being able to fill the role. And so that he wouldn't know the difference because their parents never really talked to him. I think it's debatable whether that's a contrived plot point or, creative writing. It could go either way. I think it really would just depend on how many more choices in the show they make like that, right? Like if it's just one and a few, you're like, okay, that coincidences are real. Occasional things happen, so on and so forth. But if they just keep doing that, you're like, all right. So fortunately, that happened. Now, I guess during their sim, where they're traveling through space and they're having like this, instead of like Alien, right, or Aliens, where they're just in some sleeping chamber, cryogenic chamber, and they're just like asleep for the whole time. In this world, when you're in a deep, sleep across the universe, you are mentally entertained by being in a sim, like the Matrix, right? But it's just sort of self-contained on this ship. Interesting development in the concepts of science fiction and travel and such. So I guess Marcus and Sue got so bonded to this kid that by the time the Ark got destroyed, they really care about him. It's not just a kid that they have to pretend to care about so that they don't get discovered, that they developed a true and genuine love and affection for, so much so that they want to risk their own lives to save him. Which, to me, begs the question, why not have just why not just make these two his actual parents? Like, so far, the fact that they're impersonators has not paid off. Now, granted, it's only 3 episodes, but it just seems like, wouldn't it have been more, wouldn't it serve the story better if they actually had something invested in this kid's life? I mean, I'm not saying, you know, the average person wouldn't give a shit about a child's life, but in these circumstances, it's possible that they wouldn't. So, I don't know, just, I don't see the purpose so far of them being impersonators. Myself, maybe it pays off. I don't know. Just haven't seen it yet. It's kind of like it's like, I don't want to say it's a layer. It's like I don't know. It's something that doesn't necessarily need to be there. It seems extemporaneous. That's my feeling so far. Look, I haven't seen the whole show yet. Could totally work out. It just so far seems a little bit like, all right, well, I don't know. That's not really working. And then, but also it's like, you wanted that because it was interesting, but then you also wanted the parental care for the child. So then we kind of went down that road. It's just like, well, what do you want? I don't know. What's the point? What story are you telling? That's my feeling on the matter. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. I don't know. Hasn't, like I said, hasn't paid off either way just yet. So back in the settlement, Campion is manipulating his android caretaker fellow. Father, his name is Father. He's manipulating him a lot of it, and he has this plan for him and the kids, all the other kids, to run away because the kids are starting to get sick, and the big plan, the big jailbreak, is to run away. I don't know where he thinks he's going, but I guess they think he can get somewhere. Because he believes that the mother, who's a necromancer, is killing the kids unknowingly, even though he hasn't been killed. But I guess the sudden arrival of those weird dog-like creatures who were attacking the settlement in the last episode, he thinks, oh, mother can make illusions. Must be bullshit. So she's trying to kill you all. I don't know. This is where like the plot starts to get a little like contrived and things start to just kind of happen. I don't know. Like, I think the visuals of the show are excellent. The acting is very, very competent. The editing and the cinematography are top of the industry. So I think as you're watching, it doesn't seem like there's nothing to question. It doesn't seem like, it just seems like it works. But then if you think about it, I don't know, every stream I've done, every time I start to dissect the plot, I'm like, wait, does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't, like, it just kind of feels like there's a lot of contrivances. There's a lot of leaps you have to make, and I'm not entirely sure why they needed to do that, because it seems, as far as I know, this is a brand new world. It's not like there's canon or some sort of source material. It's something they made up. So I don't know. Why not give yourself, why not make it easier on yourself and give these kids a real reason to leave, or give the other characters a real reason to care about the young boy. I don't know. It's just things that just kind of, it just seems like lots of muddled motivations, which, why? Certain mother's motivations are pretty pretty straightforward, pretty clear. I mean, she is a reprogrammed murder machine who wants to raise kids. Her motivations are really clear. Boom, boom, boom. Fathers are good too. The humans, I don't understand a single one. None of them are consistent. Maybe the older child in the group, he just wants to get away and talk shit. He seems well realized. I don't know. This is what I mean. It's just problems develop once I get into it.
Or maybe I'm just over scrutinizing and my brain is just working against my enjoyment.
Not sure. I don't know. This is how I feel.
How I feel. This is my feelings.
Also, another thing that didn't work for me in this episode is the flashbacks, like within a flashback. So Marcus's character has these flashbacks of how when he was trained as a soldier, as a boy, right? And like he's an atheist soldier, but then they like flash into the, I guess what is the present with the Ark being crashed, but the girl survived. But like we didn't know that the girl survived. Like we didn't know any of these people survived. Like it was very sudden. It was just all of a sudden like, oh yeah, all these people from the Ark survived. Like I authentically thought it was another Ark that had crashed on Earth, and this was just part of his flashback. Seriously, I didn't realize that this was like now. Like nothing about this show told me she was alive. Like nothing about this show told me anyone was alive, except at the end of the last episode, they were carrying him back to the thing, to wherever. But they didn't say where they were coming from, who they even were. Maybe it was another settlement. Like there was way too little I knew about this show to definitively say, oh, those are survivors from the Ark, and they're bringing them back to the wreckage. Then when this episode's like, hey, here we are at the wreckage, you're like, wait, people survived? Is this a flashback? Like that was off-putting for me. I really don't think I should be confused yet. Like, not to say that I should have it all crystal clear in my head, but what's happening, I feel like I should be completely clear, and then figuring out the bigger plot should be my journey. Not, wait, is that now? Is that the past? What is going on? I don't think that is a failure in my opinion. If you're building a brand new world, it's a new show. I don't know anything about anyone in this. If I'm confused for 1 second about what's happening when, that's troublesome, in my opinion. I don't know. Ridley Scott's pretty old. All due respect, Ridley. That's true, though. But I'll say this. Mad respect for taking a big swing. Seriously. Like, no bullshit. Like, I like that this takes place on a different world. 150 years, 200 years in the future, whatever it is. Like visuals and it's a big science fiction swing. And as far as I can tell, it's not tethered, at least not yet, to any like ham-fisted modern day politics or ideological beliefs. And for that, I'm cool with it. I mean, it might get there. It probably will, but for right now, it's not. And I appreciate that. That's what I want for my science fiction. I want my science fiction to take me somewhere else. I want to be transported. It's like Harry Potter. It's like that's obviously not science fiction, but it's like when you'd read Harry Potter, like you were in Harry Potter world, right? Like you were there. It's like Lord of the Rings. You're in Middle Earth. You like, good fiction takes you somewhere. And that's what I want for my science fiction, especially because that's my favorite genre. So I'm not saying this show's achieving that, but I'm saying they're trying, and I appreciate it. And it just seems untethered from modern bullshit thus far. 3 episodes in, gotta respect that. I don't feel preached to yet. Don't feel condescended to. Don't feel attacked. Which I can't say about most shows, so brava. It is so weird though that Marcus and Sue give so much of a fuck about this kid. I mean, from another angle, their characters actually would be alleviated with the one thing that could expose them for being frauds, and this kid being alive. And if this kid just conveniently died, well, they would never get discovered. I'm not saying like that would be an empathetic character choice, but it might make sense from people who murdered two innocent people to get on board this ark. And also, he's an atheist, like, you know, like meaning like he's on the other side of the war and killed a lot of the soul people. So it's just kind of it's a bit of a leap for me to believe that they suddenly give so much of shit about this kid. And this kid is really stupid to not notice that his parents are completely different people. Like, I don't know how good plastic surgery is in their future, but my God, it must be amazing. Because, like, no bone density difference, no height, no nothing. Well, it all worked out just fine then. But still, like a smell difference, like a feel of the like there's nothing significant you noticed. Anyway, let's just assume that works. So here we see the atheist flashback, which is pretty bleak. It's got like a 1984 look to it. It's very Ridley Scott, like 80s Ridley Scott, which I like. I like this. It's got that kind of cool, like cold industrial town, brutal, you know, bleak, cold city future kind of thing. Like, not that it was a Ridley Scott movie, but it kind of feels like Alien 3. It just has that just like industrial ash in the air everywhere. Cool, like future tattoos and shit. Although the next scene, well, not this. The next scene's actually kind of cool. It's like these two kids are battling it out. They're having just like a fist fight, you know, like as training for military purposes. And then they give them like some kind of weird like jetpacky thing on their back. It's like they call it turbocharge or whatever, which they never explain what it is or why or what it does. I assume it plugs into their spine. I'm really unclear on what it does. But he calls it, think of it as turbocharge, which I guess in 150 years that'll have meaning still, turbocharge. Anyway, so they can kick ass with these powers. And of course, you know, he doesn't no, okay. So then the next scene is that then like these two kids who are like 11, 12 are like running through this warscape with rifles, and they're just taking out full-grown men, no problem. Now listen, these kids might be good warriors or whatever, but these like 11, 12-year-olds are just running in open field. They're not exactly like behind cover, who are like, they're just like running. I mean, are they as fast as a fully grown man? I would like to think that they wouldn't be, and that they're using rifles designed for a fully grown man, so they're quick enough to like move. It was a little far-fetched, this whole sequence, and also it just seems like everyone on the other side of them is completely inept. Like they don't even like lick shots near them. It is a little much. It's a little much. There's a lot of things I'll suspend my disbelief for, but just do me a favor and don't stack them up like right next to each other. Don't be one after the other after the other. It's just like, okay, I can accept this, I can accept that, but like stretch it out, you know? And you're doing a new world. You know, it's like with The Expanse, you know, my favorite show. They introduce so many things, but the reality is so grounded. Like they don't really ask you to make many leaps. You know, I wonder if the creators of this show have watched The Expanse. I genuinely do not feel that show gets the credit it deserves. To me, it should be a cultural landmark. It should be the most important science fiction piece of fiction since Star Wars. I mean that with no exaggeration. Like it's that significant, and I would honestly like. I have a question in my mind as to whether the creators of this show have even seen The Expanse, and the reason I say that is because the way that they introduce such a rich and nuanced and complex world, it feels plausible, right? There's only a few moments where the leaps are kind of like, yeah, and that's very few and far between. This show is asking me to take a lot of leaps. You know, like I'm watching 11-year-olds blow away grown men. You know, I'm watching two strangers suddenly give a shit enough about a kid to risk their own lives and risk their only, potential of the future. When an episode ago they were murdering perfect strangers to get off the earth. It's these things where you're like, yeah. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's like, it's a bit of a stretch. And when you're asking this many stretches, it doesn't click. It doesn't work. I was talking to Jared the other night, and he's like, it didn't stick. When I was done watching it, it was just it fluffed away. He didn't care. And I was like, oh fuck, I hate to admit it, but that might be true. There's great visuals. I just think it's not deep enough. There's not enough. There's nothing in me so far. I don't know how much I care. Like, I'm compelled to continue it because it hasn't bothered me in a way where I'm done. I like rich science fiction world building, but like at the end of this, am I going to be in love with it? Am I going to feel a connection to it? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's there. I don't know if there's anything in this that. I don't know, but like when I'm looking at a scene like I'm just looking at right now, the crashed ark and the necromancer flying over it, that's awesome. That's like those types of like grandiose, like science fiction, like spacescapes that you can only dream of. Like the only possible depiction you'll get is one painting or something, one novel cover. When now we're in a time where you can make that look real in a movie or whatever. So it's like seeing something like that is like, recaptures that excitement of science fiction potential. So there's enough here for me to keep watching and keep staying interested. I just don't know if the story has enough depth for me to be like, oh, this is awesome. Because Martin, my buddy Martin, finished it, and I don't know. I didn't get a lot of passion coming off of it from him. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna finish the season. Don't get me wrong. I'll finish the season, unless it's despicable. But I don't think that's gonna happen. What's up, Luke? Luke is nearby.
My fluffy white gato.
What's up, Fluffy Buff? How you doing, man? You want to make your cameo? I know you like being on camera as much as you pretend you don't. I brush him every day. Every day. And still. I don't know. I love this cat. If you're gonna get a white long hair, you better really love him. I guess.
Oh my goodness gracious! It's a lot of kitty hair. Whole bunch.
Hey, Buster boy. He's just chilling. So this sequence didn't make any sense to me. So I guess the necromancer comes to the crash down ark, right? All the people who are the remnants of soul or whatever, they go and they hide in the cracks of the earth. Then they send this android out there, and she runs looking up at the necromancer, and then loses track of the necromancer. Necromancer runs in front of her, and then knocks her over, and then pulls her heart out. And that's kind of it. Then there was like a brief distraction or something, and the android that works for the soul people runs away and falls into a big pit. And I guess we're supposed to maybe assume that matters or something. I'm sure it will from a story point of view. It was utterly ridiculous. I mean, like, if this android didn't fall into this pit, which I imagine will pay off later, it was like, what was their plan exactly? Hey, run! And then let her kill you and rip out your eye so that we can stay in these cracks. They didn't know you. She didn't know you were there. I mean, she may have imagined you were there, but she didn't definitely know it. But you just guaranteed that she knows that there are at least androids here and probably people. So what was the point of that? Why did you just send the android? It didn't distract. It was, if it like ran distraction so all the people could run in this direction, but that didn't happen. They all just stayed in the cracks, and then the android just starts doing her sonic calls, and then they all are like, oh no, this is bad, let's run deeper. But they didn't decide to run deeper until she started doing her sonic calls. What the fuck? And then I guess one of the soul people just fell into the big hole. Oopsie doopsie. So these thermal tunnels have there's something with these thermal tunnels. I don't know if it's like where those like weird half people, half dog creatures live, or what, but they're gonna pay off eventually. It's so weird. Like, when I watch this show, I don't have half the problems that I'm bringing up. But now as I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. I hope that I'm not being a nitpicker. I hope I'm not being one of those people who just like, whoa, this doesn't make sense. I don't like this. This is all, because I honestly don't feel that I'm being that way. But because those people are annoying. But it's like, as I'm talking about the plot, I'm like, no, it doesn't really track, or that's not interesting, or whatever. That's weird. But like, even as I'm saying this, I want to go watch the next episode for sure. I do. I don't know. Maybe it's a show that doesn't need logic to make it work. That's not. I hope no one would ever say that about anything I write. You know what you don't need? It doesn't make any sense, but it works. That's not a goal of mine. I find it very hard to believe that these androids did not have technology that would allow them to survey the entire planet in 150 years. I don't know. Maybe that's a nitpick.
Maybe that's a nitpick.
I'm going to let that one go. I won't pursue that idea. But they didn't. They have enough power to fly and create sonic bursts that blow people's heads out. But they couldn't explore any part of the planet other than the parts that they could see. Well, that's logical to me.
Logical.
So this is Campion's little escape in the dead of winter. Campion sets his escape with all the other kids because he believes that they're right about Mother. That Mother is unknowingly killing them all, and they take the pregnant girl with them, which is brilliant. They don't take any water or food, but they take some kind of root, I guess some kind of drug or something. I'm not entirely sure. Something. What's going? Yeah, and then this was stupid too. So they trap Father, the other android, in the shed with like the food, like a pantry or like a root cellar. They trap him in there, and he very conveniently waits just long enough to break out of that root cellar for the kids to escape. And not just escape far enough that he couldn't just see them and catch them. Do you see what I mean about these contrivances? Like, wouldn't it be cooler if there was like an off switch, or they exploited him sleeping or going off somewhere and he came back? Like something that would make a little bit more sense than he just decided to not go and like track them down. Like, it's just so unbelievable. And then like later on, like the group splits like 3-1, And mother's like, whatever. It's another contrivance. It's just these things that I'm like, really? Like, that's the best idea you could come up with? Like, this is a really interesting show because clearly a lot of money went into it. The actors are terrific, like across the board, terrific. The cinematography is amazing. The editing is really clean. The visual effects are great. Like, there's nothing like technically about the show that's bad, but like the writing is like, I can't even say lazy. It's just kind of like simple. I think maybe a little cruel, but the plotting is childish. Like, the plotting takes a lot of liberties with logic that I just don't understand why. Like, it's more, to me, it's way more fun when you find a logical solution that's like serves the rules of the universe. Like, that to me is way more fun. Like, when you find that solution, like, oh yeah, and then that happens, like, that's way cooler. Like, it just seems like these guys are just kind of like, yeah, and that happens, and this happens, and that happens. You're like, okay, but why wouldn't the android? Oh, he was locked in the root cellar. It's like, okay, but like a scene later, you show him punching the door out. It's like, well, the kids had enough time to escape. It's like, why would he allow them the time to escape? Well, because the story needs to happen. It's like, okay, but that's bad writing. Okay, is there anything else we can do? Like, maybe they had a plan and they piled up logs in front of it. Like, anything that would make a little bit more logical sense than just like he waited long enough for 4 kids, 1 pregnant, to run away from a robot. Like, there has to be a better solution than that. Like, I don't know. It's just very contrived, and it would be so much easier if the kid just, the father had to recharge, or they stole his battery or something that would incapacitate him long enough that like how old is the one kid? He looks like he's 8. I mean, I feel if you gave an 8-year-old a 3-hour head start, I could still catch up with him. Like, and this guy's a robot with the ability to track them. But they made it sound like they just got on their jetpacks and just flew off in another direction. It's like, I don't know. The show just takes a lot of leaps in logic. It really asks me. It asks me to look the other way a lot, and I don't want to look the other way a lot. It's like, I like your ideas. I like your world. I just wish you had more respect for it than you're asking me to. It's like you didn't take the time to logically, come up with the path, but then you're kind of like asking me to not think about it. It's like, dude, I'm the audience that will love your shit if you take the time to make it real. You want me to love it, but also like not love it so much that I don't like observe it correctly? Like, was this a rushed script? Did you only have like a few months to write it? Like, I don't understand like why it wouldn't be logically consistent. I don't know. It's just weird because it's really well realized in a lot of ways. But the contrivances, like, they're self-motivated. It's not even like they wrote themselves into a corner. It's just like, oh no, this happens. You're like, really? I mean, you couldn't have come up with another solution? Nah, we're moving on. It's like, okay, I mean, you're making a lot of money. Can you just try a little harder? I don't know. Another interesting idea that this show introduced, or not idea, but another plot point that was introduced when this kid, is what I mean. There's like 4 or 5 of these kids, and one gets separated, and for some reason the other kids don't stop and try to find him. I mean, they're all kids. How far could he have gotten? Like, that's what I mean. He didn't fall down an embankment or something. He just stopped for like 3 minutes, and then that was it. Permanently disbanded from the group. Okay. But I guess the kid found like a doll, like a human doll. That was interesting to me. I was like, okay, we're going to find out about another civilization, or like whatever those dog people things are. We're going to find out who and what they are. I was like, okay, interesting. Cool. Like, that's what I want to see. That's what I mean about this show. If they were just more patient with the script writing, and there was a producer or like a showrunner or someone who was like, no, that doesn't track. Like, I don't care. Make it logical. Like, that doesn't work. Make it work. You don't even have to be a dick about it. Just explain why it doesn't work. Like, track logically. Okay, but this doesn't make sense. This is an android with like all these amazing features, and somehow it's just going to let a couple of kids escape from him. Doesn't really seem that plausible. Let's come up with another solution, right? Father falls down a hole, and then they have the opportunity or something. Anyway, I feel like that this show would have really benefited from someone with a little more like, no, a little more vision, a little more guidance, because it's like a visually ambitious show, and there's all these ideas. It's not built on, as far as I know, any pre-existing, source material, which in this day and age is a huge, bold risk. So bravo for taking that risk. I just don't know why. Like, why wouldn't you make it more airtight? Why wouldn't you, not even airtight, just a little more plausible? Because look at all this stuff. Look at all these beautiful sets and costumes and the cinematography. Honestly, the technical stuff is really, really good. And I'm not familiar with any of the lead actors except for Travis Fimmel, and they're all really gifted. Obviously, I'm sure they've been around. No one just walks onto a major Hollywood production without having been proven. But they don't exactly have box office pull, as far as I know, and it's like they're all doing really great. So it's like, meaning you have the talent, you have the skills, you have all these things here collectively. Why not just take a little bit more time to make this script make more sense? And you can have your little discoveries. So they discover that these tubers that they eat, the seed or whatever, and those tubers are radioactive. That if you do something with the seeds or whatever, like they decay, and they can, meaning they give off like radioactivity. So that's what's killing all the kids. Somehow, robots didn't figure that out. Whatever. But regardless, they learned it. And so mother learns that she's not killing the kids, and she's very happy about that, and so on and so forth. So basically, that like the escape of the kids allowed them to learn this information, which is great. That is a great little discovery, right? It's like in the demand of having to find the kids, you got to throw in the biofuel port of your ship, these little tubers, and then when you figure it out, oh shit, the seeds are radioactive. Oh, we didn't know that. Well, that's a huge development. Great, that's fine. That all works. It's just make it work that the kids would have been able to escape, so that this moment carries more weight. It's just one of those things where I just feel like I'm being like, I'm in a river, right? And I'm just like in a raft in a river, and the show's just carrying me, and I don't really, it's just like, okay, no matter what happens, I'm just on the ride. This is like, oh man, like, I don't know. Make it more plausible. It's just better when it's plausible. I don't know. It just feels like you're under the gun. It feels like you're like under some kind of like schedule. Maybe you were. I don't know. In which case, it did work. Don't rush these writers. They can't do it under pressure. All due respect. Yeah, this was something that, once again, it didn't make any sense. I'm sorry, I don't mean to just harp on all the negativity, but this is what I'm seeing. So the kids are the group of kids that are separated from the other kid, right? They're all out at night in the cold, and the little monsters start coming close or whatever. And so father manages to track them down, kills the one monster or whatever, saves the kids, and then brings all the kids back to camp. But somehow that other kid, the main kid, was so far from the group. He didn't have time to go get him. He left an 8-year-old or a 9-year-old in the woods, even though that kid has a tracker in him. In his spaceship, he didn't have time to find him because mother was going to go do it. Come on. Come on. Really? Really? These things don't make sense. They don't track. They don't play. I understand you're trying to get the story going. There has got to be a more genuine way to get there. It can't just be like, "Well, no, mother said." Oh, really? So the 6 hours that this child could hurt himself and die in so many different ways, we're just gonna. Oh, well, yeah, that's the story. I don't know. It's. I think maybe the show is losing me. Because I love the visuals. I love the ideas. I like the world. It's just the way it's playing out. It's just right. It's just getting more and more implausible. Something about the way it plays out though, still keeping me. I don't know. I haven't like flat out been like fuck this show, because when I'm sitting down watching it, I like it. It's like two different experiences, right? I'm watching this. Oh, here's those little monster people who look really human this time around. They look like people. And then father manages to catch. He manages to catch one of these things, which don't seem like much of a threat. They don't seem like much of a threat at all. Yeah, this was so contrived. Yeah, this show's just lazy, man. I gotta be honest. Some of the writing is just genuinely lazy. It's like, it's tied up. It can't escape. It's like, what? You had rope in there ready to go? You had like chains? How do you know it can't escape, by the way? Like, do you know how strong this thing is? Like, I feel like if I had to tie up a Rottweiler or a Bengal tiger, I would probably need like different strength constraints. But they're, about the same size. You know what I mean? Like, give or take a few 100 pounds. But I mean, like, they're similar in length. They're similar in, it's like similar in size, relatively. How do you know one is as strong as the other? It just, I don't know. It just seems like a weird. He's so sure. It's tied up. It can't escape. It's like, you sure about that? This alien creature that neither one of you knew existed until like the other day. And then I guess good thing you had enough tensile steel to tie up this creature ready to go, just sitting there, I guess tied to a wall. Like, these things. It's just like, are you making this up on the fly? Are you guys like on set and like, okay, we have to figure out a reason for this thing to get locked up? Oh, okay, ties it up in that shed, and there's rope in there because the other day he had to, I don't know, build a thing with there's rope. Okay, so he tied it up. It's all good. It's like, is this improv? Like, I honestly just, these things, too many leaps, so many leaps. Like, scripts there's usually writer's room. This is HBO. Am I wrong? Are there like rooms full of writers talking about this and coming up with ideas and like whiteboards and like tracking the plot, and there's no one in the room? Like, that doesn't make any sense. No one. Ridley Scott's involved. Blade Runner, Alien, Ridley Scott. Gladiator, Ridley Scott. It's not like, no one in this creative team is like, this is a little bit of a reach. Like I said, one reach here and there, fine. It's a lot of reaches. Look, if you can point it out that they're not reaches, fine. I guess I'm wrong. But to me, they seem like reaches. I don't feel like I'm being a jerk here. I don't feel like I'm being unreasonable. So anyway, the episode ends with that kid falling down a pit and then hitting a tree. And it honestly felt like the end of the second act. It didn't feel like the end of the episode at all. I was like, oh, wait, that's it? Okay, I guess that makes sense. The time's up. I don't know. It's a weird show in that regard. I mean, like, I want to like it. Like, I really want to like it. Like, authentically. Like, I'm down to like this show. It just seems like the writers are lazy, man. Let's not say lazy. I'd say hasty. right? They're hasty to get to their next moment. Like they're so excited by their own ideas. Okay, and then he locks in the shed, and then whoa, okay. It's like no one's there to be like, okay, slow down, cowboy. Like let's just figure out how this plays, right? Okay, well, why doesn't this character do that? Well, no. Why doesn't this character do that? Logically, that's what that character would do, right? Why doesn't he? Oh, because no. Let's come up with a reason. And that's the thing that this show seems to be missing, is someone being like, nope, we're going to figure out this world. We're going to see how it plays out and why these characters would or wouldn't do this. You know? I don't know. There's a logic. There's a plausibility this show is missing, unfortunately. Maybe that's what I haven't been able to latch on to. I like it. I like the boldness in the world building. I like the acting is fine. I don't say fine. I'm not saying like I appreciate the acting. The visuals are amazing. Like all the visual like technicians are great. It's just, does the story make any fucking sense? Do I honestly care? I don't know.
But stay tuned to find out if I give a shit. That's on the next episode of Raised by Wolves.
I don't know. That was episode 3. So, I don't know. Thanks for sticking around and watching me. I hope you appreciated my insight and my commentary on this show on HBO. I don't know. I'm going to watch. I'm going to keep going. I'll finish the season. That's my commitment to you. I will finish the season. Might be all criticisms of the writing at that point, but I don't know. But thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please... If you enjoyed the video, please press like. It means a lot. It means a million. It means so much. And if you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. It means a billion things. So many. I don't know what I'm saying. Please like and subscribe. And thanks for watching me. I'm Matt with Foulball Productions. Have a wonderful evening. Toodaloo.